Hello, Internet. This is the JWCP Game Activity Podcast, a podcast hosted by Jonathan Peters and Wyatt Conrad. I'm your host, Jonathan Peters.
I'm your co-host, Wyatt Conrad.
And this is a podcast to talk about the vast topic of video games. Last week on this podcast, Wyatt, it's been a while since we've done a podcast, to be completely honest with you. It's been like 3 months.
It's been a minute. It's definitely been a minute.
It's weird getting in here, isn't it?
Yeah, we're going to have to get in the flow of things, you know what I mean?
Definitely. So if you didn't catch it last week, struggling to find my stuff, we talked about PUBG, Fortnite, Warzone, Apex Legends, basically all Battle Royale games. And I think we dogged on Fortnite a lot, didn't we, Wyatt?
Yeah, we usually do that. Like GTA and Fortnite, we usually dog on those games.
Yeah, not GTA.
Yeah, we did. Well, not then, but
Yeah.
we have.
So we talked good about PUBG and Warzone, Apex, obviously, because they're good games. So this week we have special guest star. He teaches A-Push. He's from Columbia City Local High School. He went to Purdue. We introduced you, Mr. David Peterson. He's my history teacher. It's kind of weird having him in here.
Yeah, it's kind of weird to be up here.
Yeah. Oh, man. Kind of shaking.
We're happy to have you here.
Yeah, it's good to be here. Good to be here.
Shaking, but I'm
cool.
still rolling. All right, so let's just get rid of these papers. So, Mr. Peterson, you play a lot of survival games.
Yeah, recently I've gotten more into them than when I started out. When I was first gaming, I was more COD, and I played a lot of shooter games, and then recently I've gotten more into the survival era games.
Yeah, that's good. So got to ask you. So, what kind of console do you main? And we won't judge you for it.
Xbox One. Yeah.
All right, Xbox One. That's not bad. Not bad. It's Xbox, but it's not bad.
It's pretty bad. I don't like it. But, you know.
I had a PS2 when I was younger, but
That's good.
yeah, everyone has the PS2. And I tried a little PC when I was in college, but I didn't have a PC that could really do it. So Xbox was where I stuck.
Yeah. It's hard to put in the amount of money you want to put in when you go to get a PC.
I built my own gaming setup for PC, and I dropped everything I had.
Yep.
I could have bought a car instead. I decided to buy a gaming setup.
Exactly.
And I still kind of regret it to this day, but I get to watch myself lose in PUBG at 100 FPS now. So, that's nice.
Yeah, man.
There you go.
So this week we have some new business. We're going to talk about DayZ, Skyrim, Rust, Ark, and 7 Days to Die. And frankly, I've never played 7 Days to Die, and I've played a little bit of Ark, and I assume Rust is kind of like DayZ, just a little more toxic. So let's get into it. All right. So, Mr. Peterson, out of those games that I just listed to you, if you only had to ever play one again, what would it be? Or actually, you can choose off the list too, I guess. Pose.
Right now I've been playing a lot of DayZ, and probably if I were to say this time in my life, probably DayZ. But that's a hard one. I played a lot of Skyrim too. I know some people have put 600 plus hours into Skyrim, but I probably would say right now DayZ of that list that you mentioned there.
I'm just saying, I'm kind of I kind of started playing Skyrim back when I was real young, I was pretty young. So
How many hours do you have in it?
hours in total, see, it's been across about 3 different platforms on multiple different consoles.
Yeah.
So I honestly don't know. I imagine it's over 500, maybe 600,
Yeah.
but it's definitely quite a bit. I used to love that game. I played it on Xbox One, PS3, PlayStation 4, PC. What else did I play it on? I think that's about it. But it was, I played it on PS3 too. Did I say PS? I probably said PS3. And yeah, I put lots of hours on that game. I love that game. And I've never truly finished it, which I feel like that's kind of a sin, honestly. So I think I might have to replay it, finish it.
Yeah, I don't know if I've done all the side quests necessarily, but I think what's nice about Skyrim is you have the modded, the modded part of it that really kind of makes it eternally playable, right? Which you can keep modding, and you can do things that are pretty obscure, and you can also do some things that make the game even better.
So I've never played Skyrim, so I assumed that you guys would take off, and it looks like you have. So fill me on, kind of give me a brief description for me and the folks back at home who don't know what Skyrim is. Someone give me a little brief description of what Skyrim is.
Okay, so
I think
just looking at me.
Yeah, we all were.
Well, Skyrim it's part of the Elder Scrolls franchise. So there's a lot of games before it, and there's a lot of games after it nowadays. There's actually an online version. I don't like it. Doesn't make much sense. Because you play with people that are way higher levels than you. But it's kind of hard to explain if you talk to somebody that has no idea what the whole franchise is about. But you can explain it. Skyrim's probably the best introduction you can have to it. Because some of the earlier games are just kind of, they're old, not fun to play. The storyline's weird. It's kind of weird to get into. Skyrim has more of a friendly, like, friendly user base kind of like, player
So
base.
timeline, our story wise, what's the end goal? What are you fighting for?
The end goal, well, you find out you're the Dragonborn after, you get caught. So you start off and you're in a horse carriage and you got caught by Imperials.
Wait, the horse-drawn carriage. Oh, hey, you're awake. That meme?
Yeah.
All right.
That one. I think
All right, I know.
people would know that.
Oh, you know everything about it then. You're good to go.
Yeah,
man.
no, you're good. We don't even have to talk about it, bro.
Yeah.
All right.
So it introduces you to the first dragon. A dragon goes on top of a tower. If I get in that logistics, I'd be talking forever. But you pick your character. There's a bunch of different races, and there's certain attributes to different races. So,
What are you usually?
I usually go with like a Khajiit.
Yeah.
There's like the cat, and
Yeah.
then there's a Nord. I usually go with Nord.
Yeah,
or
Nord. I always like to.
Sometimes I go with Imperial, but
I always like to do like a Viking build. So
Yeah.
like a big Nord guy, and
Yeah,
try to
that's
be as
fun.
Viking as I can possibly get. And I don't even go like too high armored up. I usually just keep like the base like Imperialist armor or whatever, or not Imperialist, but
Right.
the Nord armor, and
Right.
keep it the same.
yeah, I've done like I've done the Orc. I've done Orc before. It's not that great. I don't like it as much because the thing what's that special? It's like a special kind of thing where you
Yeah,
you
the
can-
special skills,
special
whatever they have.
ability or
Yeah,
special
ability.
skill for every certain race, and it doesn't really matter which race you pick. I mean,
No, I don't.
Yeah, ultimately you can kind of like once you start playing, you can kind of pick your own skills,
Yeah.
and base it off of that. So
you're still a Dragonborn no matter what. It just if you want to be a cat, you can be a cat. If you want to be a Nord or whatever, Nords are they're the people of Skyrim. So you can actually experience racial like kind of crime.
yeah, that's actually true.
You
yeah.
can be people.
Yeah.
They'll judge you on your race.
Really?
Yeah,
Sometimes.
they will sometimes.
They
yeah.
will judge you on your race, and if you're a Nord, you're 9 times out of 10 you're probably not going to get judged. But if you go like to a Khajiit or something, he's gonna like he's gonna say some bad stuff about you. Let's just say that.
Really,
All right.
honestly, like it's like a Viking. It's like Scandinavia. That's
Yeah.
kind of what it looks like. I mean,
I think that's
even
weird.
the fonts and the language is kind of like Old Norse and similar in some characteristics. And they're supposed to be Vikings. And even like the end game, you have basically a Valhalla, which
Right.
is where you go and you fight with all the heroes and stuff like that. So
Right. So like once you get past picking your race, you go through this. You go through a bunch of they're just trying to lead you through the game, teach you how to play the game, and you come out of a cave that you were in where you pretty much just you get introduced to some new like animals and mobs and stuff. Not mobs. This is Minecraft. Like enemies and stuff. Like different kinds of things you can do. You get introduced to a bow. How to use weapons, how to use potions, how to poison certain things. So you come out. And that's pretty much where the main storyline starts because you go to it's Riverwood, right?
yeah,
Riverwood, talk to Gerda, and then she tells you to go to Whiterun, and Whiterun's like it's a big city, like it's not super big, but it's pretty big. And you go there, you talk to the Jarl, and he has you go do stuff. You pretty much just do tasks for him. The first task you do it for his son. And you go to this big temple, and you go in, and you have to kill it's a Draugr, but it's like can't remember the name.
some type of boss Draugr.
Yeah, it's
basically,
like a boss Draugr. It's like really powerful. Like it's not super powerful, but like to you, since you're low level, it'll be powerful. But it's kind of hard to explain
Yeah.
a really story based game.
And I don't know if we have the time for it.
Yeah, I don't think we have the time.
Yeah.
So pretty much, it's a game with a lot of content, and I think that's why people really love it because you can go off, do whatever you want,
Mm-hmm.
and now they have DLCs where you can build your own house. They have other tasks. They have side quests that are fun. You can actually have
Yeah.
children.
They can get married and have
Yeah,
children.
you can get married.
Really?
You can
Lydia?
adopt. Yeah.
Lydia.
Yeah, I think I married her a
every
couple
time,
times
bro.
at least. Yeah.
Every time. She was a baddie.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, I don't think I put nearly as many hours. I don't know how many I have, but not said 500 or whatever.
Right.
I played on Xbox and on PC. I played on PC when I was in college, and then Xbox, in, a few years ago probably. But
Yeah. I like
um,
PC. It's
yeah,
fun. It's
yeah,
better with mods. Because mods are a whole nother story. Because there's people have released mods where it changes the entire story. It's
yeah,
like pretty much a completely new game,
yeah.
and it's actually really cool.
I've played a mod where it's Born Again, where you're basically you're not the Dragonborn, you're just an average citizen, and like you
Yeah.
basically have to, and it actually adds a little bit more challenge to it because you don't get all the you don't get all the cool equipment and stuff. You have to
Right.
actually basically like I think you start out basically chopping wood, and you have to sell wood and try to make money off of that.
Huh.
It's pretty fun. You basically
That sounds like
Live
fun.
my
It sounds
life.
like it would take.
Do
a
the
lot of time,
game,
though.
do the mods add in, like where they feel first party, or do they feel like third party mods?
they some of them feel like third party. They can be pretty intrusive, but some of them are very very close to what it would look like.
They just blend in really well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they blend
Some of
really
them
well.
are subtle, but you can notice it. Subtle differences, but you can notice it. Like when you add there's a mod where you can add guns in the game. But it's not like you don't add an AK-47. It's like a dwarven gun. Dwarven is like a colony of people. They used kind of gold. It looks like gold, like dwarven ingots and stuff. And it's pretty much just a material and a colony of people who made all this. And it's really good, really really good weapons, but it's not the best you can get. The best is like Ebony and stuff like that, and Daedric armor and tools and all that.
Yeah.
And there's pretty much tiers. It's kind of like Minecraft. There's pretty much tiers of weapons and stuff, and certain weapons that you can get from side quests and main quests. I mean, if you really just pay attention to the main quest, you can finish the game without doing the
Yeah.
side quest. But it's fun to do the side quest in between. I feel like that's the same thing with
Do these
a bunch of
side
games.
quests add value to the game?
Yeah, they can get you better armor. You can level up your character to get more health,
Mhm.
stamina, magicka. Magicka? Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
right. And then the main point of Dragonborn is you can kill dragons, and obviously you can kill dragons, but you absorb their soul and you can use it for shouts. Yeah, it sounds weird,
Yeah.
but it's really cool. It's the
Like-
first time
like-
you do it.
Black Canary from like Batman series, like that type of shouting, like screaming.
Kinda, yeah. Because there's a bunch of different shouts. Like the first one you get is Unrelenting Force, and it really just pushes people. And then you
Oh,
can-
so they have abilities.
Yeah.
Or will
Yeah.
they okay.
there's
level it
different
up.
types of shouts. There's and that's another thing. Side quests, you can get different types of shouts, and you can use those. But you have to get dragon souls to upgrade those shouts, and you have to learn words for the shouts. It's really cool. I think it's a really interesting concept that nobody else tapped into back then. And
Yeah, I feel like that's what I was going to say. It kind of feels like it's the first, not necessarily sandbox, but kind of open world game that I think I remember being like that popular.
right,
Like you can almost quite literally climb wherever you want to go. Like even you can jump up on the mountains and stuff like that, and you can
Right.
you can go really feels like wherever.
yeah, it feels like you have free range pretty
Yeah.
much. And you can find different stuff when you go off and explore. You can swim around. I don't like swimming around, but you can swim around. You can find abandoned ships and stuff.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I played with my best friend when I first played. He had the game, and I played with him when I was in high school, and we would go on swim meets together, and we would play on the swim meet while we were not swimming. Like when we go to state, we would have we'd stay in a hotel room together, and we'd play there and stuff like that.
Right. That sounds fun.
So it was, for me, it was always like, I'm gonna go see my friend. I get to play Skyrim, and then
Yeah.
and then when I was in college is when I bought my own copy and stuff like that. And then for me, sometimes after playing a while, you're like, okay, I'm gonna move on to something else. But
Yeah.
and I'm not really into the lore. I'm not not for any superheroes or anything like that. I've never been to really know the lore, or really care that much about that much depth into it. So this is the only Elder Scrolls game I've played.
Yeah. It's the lore is really hard. It's hard to get into since there's so many games, but I feel like the newer age of lore people don't like as much
Yeah,
just because it doesn't feel like they put enough care into it.
mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel like they really tried, but I couldn't personally say because I stopped playing after Skyrim. I stopped buying their games because I didn't like the online aspect. I didn't think Skyrim should ever be an online thing.
Yeah, I never played online.
But yeah, I don't think it was a necessary contribution to the series. But one thing I have to cover. So you can get priests masks, and it's pretty much. I'm pretty sure they're dragon. They were dragonborns.
Yeah.
And they could. You can get them, and they have abilities. Like they're really powerful. They're pretty powerful, and there's a bunch of different ones. It's not introduced in the main story a whole lot. I think there is one quest where you can go get one, but I don't think it's not a required thing to get, but it's very interesting because there's lore behind it and stuff. I'm not a big fan of the lore either, but I've looked into it since I got Oblivion. It's like a couple games behind Skyrim, I think, and that's a whole nother game. You know, there's a bunch of story to it, so it's just a game you want to dump hours into, and you just you look back at it and you're like, you can get just completely overpowered in that game.
Yeah, I think the modability that alone makes it so you can, I've played it once through entirely, clean,
Right.
and then I've played it several times through, or just played hours dumping into it, even not even playing the main storyline as mods. I think I've played more time as Live Another Life, not as a Dragonborn, and just trying to get money to buy a house and to try to basically have this life.
Oh, it's that in depth.
Right.
Yeah.
Really?
That sounds cool.
Yeah. It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the two mods that I use the most are probably backpacks. Because you can, and every Skyrim player knows that you just basically stock up on as much crap, and it's so hard to get rid of stuff.
Oh yeah, you run out of space really quickly.
Yeah, and you get burdened, and then so then backpacks as it so you can have more storage and carry more weight. But
especially if you fight dragons, because dragon bones weigh a lot.
Yeah.
Dragon skin
Oh, so there's a weight
skills.
system too.
Oh
I
yeah,
almost
there's a
sell
weight
those.
system.
I almost sell those scales and bones immediately because I just can't carry them around. And
Right,
yeah.
but they're useful. I mean, they feel useful at the moment, but I feel like they're not that useful.
Yeah.
Unless you know how to make, because you have to learn how to make certain tools and stuff.
Yeah.
So you can make tools and armor out of the dragon bones and the dragon skills, which it's pretty good armor, but Daedric armor is probably the best. But pretty sure, yeah, it's the best. And there's a lot of side quests you can get into. You can make an entire podcast off of one side quest.
Yeah.
I feel like,
you
because
definitely
there's a
could.
lot to it.
Yeah.
But,
And you can pick if you want to be, do you want to be like one arm wield, two arm wield?
right.
You want to be a mage.
You
there's
can
a lot.
specialize in certain things because there's
Yeah.
stones around the entire game,
Mhm.
and you can hit those, and they'll give you a boost of that certain skill. So you can just pick one, and then you can be that for the entire game.
Yeah, archery. Those are usually what I would do is like a one arm, two arm, or archery.
Yeah.
I've done the mage ones, but
I don't know, mage is fun. It just depends what you're doing. I usually do I like conjuration because you get to conjure stuff and make things that fight for you easier.
When you get archery and you start specializing in archery, that becomes pretty overpowered because you don't have to be anywhere near them. You can just nail them and kill them almost immediately. from,
Yeah, I've never been that
100
great
yards
at the
away.
game though. I mean, I'm good at it, but I die and then I just don't. I'm not very strategic with the fighting and stuff.
Yeah.
I never really specialized with anything. I usually go with just recently, not recently, but the recent times that I played, I went into two-handed weapons and heavy armor and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I got tired of dying so much. But
Yeah, that's what I do for my Viking build too. Is one armed or
Oh, yeah.
one-handed or two-handed. But yeah,
So I've went on this website and I was reading up because it sounds like Skyrim is an absolutely huge map, right?
it wouldn't be. I mean, it's not. I wouldn't say it's bigger than like GTA is probably bigger.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, they got me thinking. Well, I'm reading
might
the,
feel like it, yeah.
the number 25th spot. It says the Elder Scrolls Skyrim. So, and on number 24, it says Elder Scrolls Skyrim. So there's a lot of Skyrim chapters. Is there more than one Skyrim game in the Elder Scrolls series?
I don't think there's more than one Skyrim game, but I don't know. I'd have to look that up because to my knowledge, I wouldn't believe it would be. But I haven't played any. If there is,
Well, the Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim comes at 15 miles, which is ranked 25th. I'm trying to get some comparison. So if anyone plays PUBG, it's ranked in at 23 with 24.7 miles. Assassin's Creed 27.2 miles. I think Minecraft is somewhere really low on the bottom because I think Minecraft was like 60 million miles.
right?
The Crew, 1,900 miles. Actually, I want
Wow.
to see. Fuel, 5,560 miles. Wow. So Skyrim's a small map apparently.
It's a small map, but I feel like the way the transportation you get, you can walk and you have a horse. Like, there's not a lot of transportation. So I feel like it feels a lot bigger than it actually is.
Right.
How detailed is the map? Does it feel
beautiful.
full?
It's very detailed. I would say it's very detailed because you won't walk, and if you walk anywhere, you'll run into something just unique.
When people talk about gaming consoles or talk about like gaming PCs, a lot of times when they will say like, okay, here, how does it look? They'll usually use Skyrim as like their example of like, oh, what are the graphics like? And like, here's Skyrim. Here's a comparison.
Really?
Yeah, because it's just a beautiful map. It looks like it looks like something where like you'd see Scandinavia. It's got pine trees everywhere and mountains, and it's beautiful.
Right. I feel like some people like to play it just because they would want to actually experience that in real life. That kind of living, that kind of just that whole atmosphere. Because it's completely unknown to us because we've never had it. But in the virtual world, it's, that's how it is. But I feel like other people, that's why they get into lore and stuff, because they want to experience that, but they can't really because, that it's fake.
Yeah, and I'm a hunter as well, and there'd be times where I'll just be like, I'm just gonna go get on there and kill some elk or something, and that's all I'll just do is just hunt. If you
really, so what's survival like? Is it like hunger, food bar, like kind of like Minecraft? Do you have health that you need to regen with?
You have a health bar, and you can use food to gain back health, but you don't need food to live.
Yeah,
you actually don't drink water; you drink alcohol.
Yeah.
Nice.
So you could be just wasted throughout the entire game.
To be frank, that's not inaccurate with how a lot of Europe was at the time, was because water was so dirty and hard to come by, like clean water sources. So alcohol was what a lot of people drank primarily was alcohol, like mead.
At least it's realistic.
Yeah.
You could, I mean, honestly, you could just be some just completely drunk guy just walking around killing
time.
dragons and stuff.
Vikings in reality would actually they'd put like raw meat into mead and then just let it sit there, and then it would last forever in that state, and then they could just eat the raw meat like that.
Right. Yeah. Because they would like chemically cook it.
Yeah. It's honestly really cool. Yeah.
I think it's funny how you're using your history knowledge in video games.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird, man. It's like you can talk about. It's weird. You can relate pretty much everything to history.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I like the Viking stuff is really cool to me too, because my grandpa is Swedish, and so I'm quarter Swedish, and the Viking history with that too. So like that's kind of part of why I like Skyrim so much, is because the Viking aspect. And I like to build Viking stuff. So
all right, not to cut us off, but we have been talking about Skyrim for a half an hour.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
So let's cut to a quick another topic. So quick intermission, Wyatt. If you aren't familiar and this is your first podcast, thank you for tuning in. If you like it, you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcast, and Apple Music. So we're everywhere. You just can Google JWCP Game Activity and find us anywhere, really.
If you go outside and yell our channel name, we will come to you.
We will. So
I
I got once asked what JWCP stands for. Do you know what JWCP stands for?
Well, that's a funny story because it's really, really simple, but it just kind of rolls off the tongue, so I like it. It's literally just John or Jonathan. You use Jonathan.
It's Jonathan
Wyatt Conrad Peters, which sounds weird.
It is.
Now, if you say it, but when you say JWCP,
it just rolls off the tongue.
Right. It sounds nice.
My thought process behind JWCP Game Activity is if you look up Game Activity on Google or maybe Spotify or any platform, you're going to find a billion results in 0.2 seconds.
Right.
So JWCP, it really puts like a label on us. And like on Twitter, I'll talk about JWCP is doing this week, So I use it as like a mammogram for, is that the right word? Mammogram?
Acronym?
Anagram? Acronym.
Yeah.
Acronym.
That's what the teacher's here for, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I use it as an acronym for us. So that's my thought process behind it. And I just wanted something to identify ourselves with, and JWCP sounded, good. Rolled off the tongue. Yeah. So
it is pretty nice.
It is. So let's segue into our next topic here. We have DayZ, Rust, Ark, and 7 Days to Die. So which one we want to talk about next? I think I feel like we can go deep into DayZ too. Let's get a quick game in. You want to talk about Ark? Ark's kind of a simple game, but in depth.
I think Rust and Ark are pretty similar in a lot of ways, so we can almost talk about them at the same time. But yeah, we can talk about Ark.
All right, let's do Ark.
Have you guys played Ark before? Or?
I've technically played both Rust and
Okay.
Ark, but I have not put much, if just an hour into
Yeah.
Rust. Is
Yeah, I've played Rust. I've watched a lot of people play Rust, but it's not on,
Right.
since it's not on Xbox, and I didn't have a PC that was necessarily like I haven't put that much time into it as opposed to Ark. I've put more time
Yeah.
into.
It's coming out on console. Rust is.
It is.
Yeah, sometime
be.
this year is
Yeah.
what I've heard. But yeah,
I might
I
get it. I don't know.
I refused to buy Rust right when it came out because of kind of the price. But it just seemed like such a competitive game that I didn't really want to get into it. Like I'm more of a work hard, get success type guy. I don't want to see that type just fall at any
Yeah.
given moment.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like you make much progress in that game.
Yeah. And also I learned that I was watching a lot of stuff on Ark a few days ago, prepping for the podcast. I learned that your base isn't safe even when you're offline.
Right.
So like you can set up like electricity in your home, and then you get a notification when your base is getting raided on your PC. So you have to hop into the game and defend it. That I'm not a big fan of whatsoever.
Mhm.
I feel like if I'm not playing the game, I'm not playing the game. You know?
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
want to be on call for a video game.
Right.
That just seems like a lifestyle. But
Yeah.
let's hop into Ark
Yeah.
before we hop into Rust. So I haven't played that much of Ark. I hopped into it with me and Wyatt hopped into it with our friends a little while ago. So I'm
Yeah.
not too familiar with it. But I know enough to talk about it. But I don't know the main goal. Is there a main goal in Ark?
it's a lot like Rust. And honestly, I bought Ark because Rust wasn't available on Xbox. I was like, what's a similar game? I found Ark. But basically, you're trying to build a base, and you're trying to basically foster and train dinosaurs and raise dinosaurs that you can then use to either for combat or for for agriculture and stuff like that. You're basically I would say it's like Rust, but you have dinosaurs that you can then use and harness to accomplish a lot more.
Really? So it's sounds like a simple game, but it's a simple base building game. Is it?
I wouldn't. I don't know. I wouldn't call it simple. It's kind of the
It
crafting. The crafting part of it is kind of
I would say,
difficult.
yeah, crafting's more complex than Rust probably.
Right. And then, I got on there because I wanted to tame a megalodon. Didn't work out well for me.
What happened?
I died. Yeah.
That's something I think. I think Ark is fun to play with friends, but it gets annoying when you're far away and then you just get teleported back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially like if you die.
I feel like that's not a PC thing. I don't think that's a PC thing.
I don't know. I've only played on console.
Yeah.
Most of these games. So PlayStation. So I'm not sure if this relates directly to the whole franchise game.
Yeah. I don't like that about it either, though. I mean, you want to go off and do your own thing and then come back and see what your buddy got. You don't want to go off and then have it be teleported back.
Yeah.
I think that just kind of takes a little bit of the realism and the fun out of it.
So-
I've mostly played Ark alone and just build my own base and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
So what's base building look like? Is it easy? Can you get really detailed? Can you terraform the land? I mean, I know you can like chop down trees, but
Yeah, you can't really do much with it. You need some
Yeah.
terraform. You
I don't think you can terraform a whole lot. It's not really kind of like a mining game. You can't really go on your ground and stuff like that. I mean, you can. In certain places you can, I've heard, but I haven't played. I've only played like the default map usually because there's different maps and stuff, different things you can go into and get into. So I don't think it's more just like, you build something on top of the land and you have like a whole base and you have a bunch of stuff in that base. You can keep it there, if you play a single player game or a multiplayer game, as long as it's not on a server. I think servers are a little different. Servers you might have to, I don't know. I've never played on a server personally, but I liked it. When I played with my friends, it was fun, but it definitely got annoying to the point where we just turned up the skills and stuff so we could make it really easy to like level ourselves
I remember
up.
that. Like I punched a tree and I think I could.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like one hit it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You punch a
basically.
T-Rex and he dies.
Yeah.
Yep.
You have a dinosaur that goes 200 miles an hour.
That's what it's about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So so Ark is kind of like a survival game too. That's why we're talking about
Oh
it.
yeah.
So
Definitely. Is.
what's survival like? Is it? I mean, do you have to stay next to a fire to not get frostbite? You have to eat.
Yeah, you do have to do that kind of stuff. You have to
Mhm.
eat. You have to drink. You have to make sure you're not cold, die.
Yeah.
Get too hot.
Can you get
stuff like
dysentery?
that. I think you can.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, you
actually, I think.
can.
Yeah. If you eat
you
something
poop a
rotten.
lot.
Yeah, you do, and you can pick up your fecal matter and use it in in like for fertilizer and stuff like
Really?
Yeah, you use
Yeah.
big
I like
poop.
that.
You can use big poops too.
that. Yeah.
Dinosaurs.
Yeah, dinosaur poop.
Yeah.
Also, you can steal an egg. I stole a really big egg, and
You get
it's
hunted down.
terrifying. I just see this gigantic dinosaur, and I hear his feet just start
Boom,
stomping
boom,
harder
boom,
and harder
boom,
and
boom,
harder.
boom.
I've never ran faster in a game in life. I ran in real life technically, and it was terrifying. I couldn't believe it. And then I look back, I'm thinking, I must have gapped him, right? He must be back there. Nope, he was right
Yeah.
there, just flung me across the map. I didn't even have a chance to react. Didn't even have a chance
You
to
gapped
scream.
him. You
I
died.
I just looked, and he was there. Just saw his big foot, and I died. I ate the egg though, so I got
Oh,
it.
did you?
Yeah, I did eat the egg.
So you got him. Yeah, showed him.
Probably
Her.
would have died from it though. You really just eat an entire like egg that's like this big,
You know,
a
it's good
raw
protein.
egg,
Yeah,
It's good protein.
a raw egg. Probably an embryo in that.
Get out of there. That's why we have that knob right
wow,
there.
yeah, that's awesome.
Nice.
I wish I had that in my room.
Really shut them
Good
up.
reaction time.
Yeah, I'm surprised. It's like it's pretty late at night. They're
Yeah,
still-
they were
still
going to call
calling each other.
someone down. For
Yeah.
those of you who are listening, probably didn't hear that because my editing skills are on par. We were in a school building, so the announcements just went over. Then they were summoning someone down, and we have a dial for the speaker in here.
Well,
So
now
I
you
just-
need to leave it in because now you're explaining it. So
Oh.
Turned
can't
up to
edit it
10.
out if you're explaining it now.
All right, so that pretty much sums up Ark. I feel. What do we think?
Yeah, it's mostly just a survival game with dinosaurs.
It's definitely fun to play with friends, but if you want to put time into yourself, you're probably gonna get bored of it in about a month or two. But you can have your fill.
Yeah.
You know?
What do you? So, would you play that game long term? Like I know a lot of people used to stream Ark when it was popular and stuff. Would you consider? I mean, if different career change, would you consider streaming Ark?
with friends? Probably. Like
Yeah.
I agree with what you said. After a few months of playing it when I was in college, I got kind of tired of it. I didn't really have anyone to play with, and that's fine because I was busy with my schoolwork anyways and other extracurriculars as well. So it was mostly like it's Friday night, whatever else. I got nothing else to do, so I'll just play a little bit of Ark. But I did get kind of tired of it playing alone. But I know I watched like a lot of like Neebs Gaming. They do a lot. Yeah.
Yep, I know.
And I watching that. They were really funny to watch.
I remember watching Neebs Gaming with Scrap Mechanic when I was a kid.
Yeah.
When I was just a kid, and I think I was in 6th or 7th grade. I just got Scrap Mechanic. I love building stuff, and I watched that. And I just I need to have that.
Yeah.
And at the time, I had a laptop with I think 2 gigabytes of RAM in it, which couldn't run anything.
Right.
And I bought Scrap Mechanic, and I remember I was so sad when I figured out my game, like my laptop just physically couldn't run. Well, it can barely run Chrome, so I don't know why I thought it could run Scrap Mechanic. But yeah,
I feel like I've gotten into a time in my life now where like games aren't as fun to play as they are to watch. Watching other people play online is more fun. I don't have Twitch. I had it for just a one time to have it like to get some type of promotional thing, and then I've never really been on it. But like on YouTube and stuff like that, I can spend a ton of time watching like Neebs Gaming or Rooster Teeth, or I don't know if they even do anymore. But I used to watch Rooster Teeth.
I watch Jacksepticeye. I'm a big fan.
I watch a lot of I've always wanted to become a police officer, and so I kind of like dedicated. Like I play a lot of LSPDFR, which is the GTA 5 plugin. I'm talked about it a lot on podcasts. So I watch a lot of Polecat 324. And he just does. He's basically the best GTA 5 role player. Okay. All right.
Right.
Gonna do some more announcements and louder than last time.
Yeah, different voice too. It's not like
They
it's like a
turned it
mailbox.
up. They were like, all right, we need
All right,
this
this
guy
kid's
here."
Maybe they're calling
Dra-
you, and we're just like, yeah,
Kid's trying to drown me out.
You
yeah.
just hear knocking at the doors. Please open up.
That'd be bad.
It's the FBI. All
The
right.
FCC could technically stop this since it's a radio station. They can like legally just bust the windows. They could drive in with a helicopter and pull you out.
Drive in with the helicopter, bro.
Fly in.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's how I like to drive my helicopter.
That's
Just
what
a
they did with.
helicopter.
Well, that's what they did
wheels.
with George Carlin. He was a radio guy.
Yeah.
There was like 10 things you couldn't say on the radio station. They were all cuss words, and he said every one of them in the same sentence. He's a comedian.
Yeah.
You guys should watch sometime. He's very definitely not PG-13.
Vulgar.
Oh yeah.
He's a little vulgar. What were we talking about? Ark?
Yeah.
talking
we were
about Ark.
segueing from Ark.
Yeah.
So let's scratch Ark off the list. I've never played 7 Days to Die.
I
So
feel like Rust is an easier transition, but
yeah. Rust.
let's
Rust
hop to
will
Rust
probably
then.
be easier.
yeah, and DayZ and 7 Days to Die both have zombies in it, so I think
yeah,
Rust would
I
be
want to
an
save
transition.
DayZ for last because
Yeah.
I want to nitpick that a little
Well,
bit.
Yeah, and that's the one I'm playing right now. So
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so let's
yeah.
transition into Rust. It's not really a transition if you say
Yeah.
you're transitioning into it. Doesn't matter. So Rust. I've watched a lot of Rust.
Yeah.
I've felt for people who have lost everything in Rust. Why have you played Rust? I've never played Rust.
Yeah.
This is gonna
I
be an
played
awkward.
it. I played it
awkward.
once, and I sucked at it so bad. I was so bad at it. I just, you know, when you get into a game, you don't expect your dude to just be completely nude, just like it's swinging, bro. It's swinging. You're just having a fun time, I guess. And it was weird. So I come up to a guy in his base, and I'm like, "Hey, you let me in? I don't have anything." And I beat him to death with a rock. I just beat him to death, and I took all his stuff, and I felt accomplished. I felt a little bad, but don't worry. I blew up his base and stuff, so he's fine. And,
that was me, by the way.
So you play Rust. So
I have played. Yeah.
So I feel like without a microphone, you're just kind of automatically a target, and you're hunted and killed.
I
Pretty
think you're just as much a target with a microphone as you're with.
Really? So
you
the
might
most
be
toxic
more
game
of
I've
a
played.
target because depending on what you say,
Yeah.
people will come at you harder.
I feel like if you try to be nicer in the game, I feel like that's when people start to take advantage of you. Like, hey man, yeah, no problem. It's like, yeah, come over here or whatever. Like, come into my base, right? Exactly.
Yeah, and then they
Right, that's
stab
a-
you to death.
Point in case right there, right? Case in
Yeah.
point, right? If I'm trying to be nice to people because I'm kind of a nice person, I think, then that's the game where you get absolutely destroyed. So I think you have to quickly realize, no, you can't be nice in this game. You have to kind of
Exactly.
fall into what everyone else is doing. Unless you have a clan, then you can kind of hang out with the clan. But that's the most toxic game I've ever played, and probably the least amount of time I've played on that one.
When I played it, there weren't a lot of vehicles. So like nowadays, there's a
Yeah.
lot more vehicles and stuff. They added a lot more. I feel like it's a lot more. It's was exposed to the public, and people played it. Like the OG Rust players, it's a whole different crowd.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I played actually before even like the nudity aspect of it. That was so. There's like I think there wasn't nudity when I played it, but then I remember when there was. I remember
That's how we get
when
the
they added
timeline.
it. I haven't played it, but like I think you could actually even pick like your race, and then they made it so you couldn't even pick your race anymore. So like whatever you're born with, that was what you had forever. Every time die.
So can you be spawned in different locations?
Yeah.
You're just born into
Yeah.
a world and you do it.
I think
Stuff?
so.
basically.
Pretty sure.
All right.
Yeah.
So let's get some questions for Peterson. And so, have you ever like worked like grinded out a character for days just to be killed out of nowhere?
Yeah. So yeah, you can. I mean, you can. It's the character says this. I mean, you just get a new character, and you can respawn on your bed.
Oh.
So if you have a sleeping bag down, then you can respawn on that. So you can't. It's possible to maintain your stuff if you're playing enough, but if you get offline for a little bit, and somebody comes find your base, your base is done basically. If you don't have the defenses up, but yeah, that can be pretty aggravating. Or like you can have all your stuff with you and not have a bed, and then you get killed and then you lose all your stuff. But that's kind of the name of the game when it comes to these survival games. You die and then you have to start over again.
Would Rust be the same game if it wasn't multiplayer?
No, it'd be like playing Ark. Well, actually, it'd probably be worse. It definitely would be worse because Ark. Ark at least you have the dinosaurs to interact with. You can do stuff, but with Rust, you basically just build a base. You'd be like, okay,
It's sad.
let's just add on to the base. So while the multiplayer is definitely toxic, it's the most toxic game I've ever played. Definitely toxic. It wouldn't be the same without.
Wait, you said the most toxic game you've ever played?
was Rust for sure.
Yeah.
Even more than DayZ. I know you think DayZ is really toxic.
I'm
but-
thinking the COD lobbies.
Oh,
That's what I'm thinking.
yeah, but the thing is, like, so I grew up playing at my friend's house the original CODs, and so I was kind of used to that. and now, especially as an adult, when I do play COD, it's like I'm used to working with high schoolers all the time, so I'm pretty. My skin's pretty thick, I guess.
All right.
So
Okay. So Rust. Looking for some questions. Yeah. I think that. Yeah, I think that pretty much cans it for all the questions I have for Rust. Like I said, I've never played Rust personally, so
Yeah.
I'm not sure. You haven't either, so that's kind of takes out the point of having a co-host. All right. So let's skip down and transition to 7 Days to Die.
Yeah.
Cross that off the list. 7 Days to Die. So who's played 7 Days to Die?
I have
right.
played it quite a bit.
All right, so this is just not a me podcast, huh?
Oh yeah, you're not even
Because we
here.
have similar tastes in gaming here.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
So 7 Days to Die. Let's get a grip on it. What's going on in 7 Days to Die?
So when I played it, when I first started playing it, it was just kind of like a zombie survival game. It had a little bit of a storyline, but it had just one map you could play. It was kind of a campaign map, but not really. It's a little bit different now on PlayStation, but on PC is way different. It's like completely different. It's a lot better, I think, in my opinion. But back then, I just watched, Cage848,
No.
the YouTuber. Yeah, I used to watch him though, and he was good at it. I used to watch him do playthroughs. He still does playthroughs on the game still, but I don't watch him anymore because I lost all interest in that game.
Mm-hmm.
And the PlayStation 4 version sucks. It's pretty much worse than when I played it.
Yeah.
It just doesn't have enough story to it. And every 7 days, there's a zombie horde that comes after you, and you
So hence the name 7 Days to Die.
Mhm.
Right. And it's pretty interesting. It gets interesting. There's different types of zombies. There's a lot of different stuff you can do in the game. I think it's pretty good content wise. I think it could have more content to it. But if you're playing with friends, you're definitely gonna have a good time. That's just you can't argue with that. You're gonna have a fun time
Yeah.
if you play with friends.
It's fun to play split screen. I played on Xbox, but
Yeah.
So yeah, it's fun to play split screen on that one. And that's kind of like primarily what I do. I have played once online with this random guy that he had a lobby, and for the most part, it seems like it's pretty dead at this point on Xbox, and which is fine because I usually play alone anyways, or with a person that I'm sitting with, and that's what I did a lot when I was in college. Was I would just play with a buddy in the room, and we just kind of split screen it, and on like a little 24-inch TV.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, the waves thing I think is what's cool about 7 Days to Die, and I think all these games in all reality are all PC games that have been then adapted to, and so it kind of makes it clunky.
Yeah.
That's
I
kinda how
don't think
describe it.
I don't think when they go to transition from a PC game to a console game, console is way more restricted. So
Yeah.
I just don't think there's not enough availability of resources in console as much as there is on PC. You can get a lot more things for PC than you can get for console. You have console, you have controller.
Right.
PC, you have a keyboard, you can customize stuff. Like there's a ton of stuff to it. But I feel like when they transition that, it just doesn't work out that well.
I think it's really based on the publisher of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, like 7 Days to Die is built off of Unity, and it's made by the Fun Pimps. So I mean, the Fun Pimps aren't known that well for making great games, and also Telltale Games also helped them make 7 Days to Die. So I think it's a lot of off of the game developers and the game publishers to convert to console. But I definitely agree with what you're saying.
Yeah. And oftentimes it's like like on 7 Days to Die, you've got a little cursor you have to move around, and it's kind of slow. You're moving around, or
Yeah.
you can use your bumpers to try to move faster. But yeah, I just feel like it's a little bit of struggle, and it does seem restrictive. But I think the one thing that's kind of redeeming about that is the seventh day wave that you try to rebuild the entire time, and every night the zombies and stuff. But that seventh day, you have to be prepared, or you're gonna lose your entire base. And
Right.
yeah,
But you still keep like there's still you save. You can save. It's not
Yeah.
like you
Right.
get destroyed and then you don't have anything. There's vehicles in the game now, a lot more than there used to be on a PC at least. And I think it's good content wise. It's just the point to it is a little off. And there's certain things that are like way harder to do because like you can find books and stuff to make certain stuff, but it's hard to find the books.
hmm
For me at least. But
yeah, blueprints and stuff.
right, that too.
Yeah.
There's different types of zombies. I like that part though. There's way different types of zombies. There's different. There's a lot of different things about it, but I don't think it's a game you'd probably get pretty bored of
Yeah, you
if
can.
you played it
If
by
you
yourself.
play alone, yeah.
What are the day and night cycles like? Is it hard transition for it's just instantly zombies?
Yeah, so the day is the zombies exist, but they're not super aggro. But
Yeah,
then
they're
as
pretty
you
tame.
and then at night they get a lot more aggravated.
Yeah.
Especially
Just-
the seventh day is really a horde of
Yeah,
zombies.
on the 7th day is a red moon. They call it the
Mhm.
blood moon. And yeah, on PC, it gets really bad and really scary. Honestly, that's one thing I do like about 7 Days to Die is it actually
It is
scares
counted
you.
as a horror video game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it scares you. Like I personally have gotten scared by that game playing it. It's just not, That's the one thing about it I like, that you can actually you can play it and you tense up when you hear certain stuff. You get jump scared by something.
I have noticed. I didn't think
Yeah.
about this, but I've noticed I play a lot more in the fall, like around Halloween time. Than
Oh yeah.
but yeah, it's dark. It's not like it's kind of dark. It's dark, so like you can't really see the zombies.
Right.
So you just walk up and all of a sudden you hear one, and you're like, oh darn, it saw me, and now then you have to run away from it. You have no idea even where you're running.
Right.
So I probably should have started with this, but the official description of 7 Days to Die is 7 Days to Die is an early access survival horror video game set in an open world developed by the Fun Pimps. It was released through early access on Steam for Microsoft Windows and Mac OS X. Why would they release it for Mac? Mac's just not for gaming. It was released on
Oh my.
December 13th, 2013 for Linux on November 22nd, 2014. Linux is an understandable platform to game on. I would prefer to game on Linux, honestly, than Microsoft, just because of how the how your processor's handled. But for Mac, that's weird to game on. I'm a big PC guy. I'm a
Yeah.
big PC nerd.
I've only ever owned. Actually, I just ordered my first Mac. I've never owned a Mac before. Besides, I've had iPods and whatever, but
Well,
everything I have is PC or Android.
I like the workflow on Mac. I won't dog Mac
Yeah.
or Apple. I like my brands. I mean, like LG TVs. I love LG. I think they're better than Samsung.
Mm-hmm.
I love Samsung phones. I think what they're doing within the industry is, amazing. I think what Mac is doing for computers, it's really good. I like their touch bar. I don't like how expensive they are because
Yeah.
like the iPhone 11 was marketed at like $1,100, but for them to make it was like not even 500. Just got a notification about the podcast. We should probably start that. I don't know why you'd sell a game on Mac. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess it's for the people who. I mean, it's a good marketing strategy. I mean, it's to make money, but it's just weird that they would even make it for Mac because Mac and Windows run completely different. Like Python runs a lot different on Mac and Windows. So it's weird that they probably didn't write the game in Python.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but yeah.
Yeah, it's a gaming
No, yeah,
podcast.
totally. Python and Linux or whatever you're talking about.
Linux is an OS like Windows. Python is a coding script like C# or HTTP.
I'll be honest, he's lost me too.
Yep.
We've got the stories about the games here, but he's got the stories about all
Yep,
the.
he's got
Okay.
he's the techie guy. We're
Yeah.
just playing along.
We're just talking about lores and stuff.
I think we should get into DayZ, bro.
All right, I'm gonna tear
Kinda-
DayZ apart.
That's fine. I don't have any.
We
Uh,
actually started debating on DayZ a little bit. A
yeah,
few
you
days
and I,
ago
yeah.
before class. So
Have you played DayZ or just you've seen DayZ?
I've played DayZ a little bit. I used to.
Yeah.
I bought the game for Steam. I played it, then I returned it. And I did that for a while. I bought it again a few months later and returned it.
Yeah, were you playing on the standard servers? What are they called? The
Yeah, I played on standard servers and then I played on the community servers. That's a question I'll get into in a
Mhm.
minute. But DayZ, let me get the description out because I really want DayZ to be like the main talking point of this podcast.
no, we spent a lot of time on Skyrim, so
Yeah. All right. So DayZ is a survival game developed and published by Boomia Interactive, originally starting as a mat for Arma 2. A mat as Arma 2. It got insanely popular. The development of the standalone game began in 2012 with the first alpha, which came out December 16th, 2013. 5 long and painful years later in development, it was officially released on December 13th, 2018. Many things were added after that, like vehicles, base building, and most importantly, mods. So there's my description of the game. So I got a few questions to ask.
Mhm.
Why? So, Mr. Peterson, what is Daisy about in a sense? Just to kind of sum it up.
So in it's probably the most strict survival game that I've played. Like if you get sick, you're done. If you don't have enough good enough clothes, you're done. If you can't find food, you're done. And you're really
Sense of
exposed to the
pattern.
elements. Yeah, you're done. And honestly, especially on the official servers, the first several times you're gonna die. And if you don't, you somehow have hacked the game, I guess, because and you really do need to depend on other people. If you can find other people that are willing to help you out, or you're gonna have a hard time until you really learn kind of the ropes. But it's got the zombie element. But I don't think it focuses around the zombies as much as like 7 Days to Die does. 7 Days to Die is all about you've got a horde coming in. Whereas DayZ, yeah, they're basically there just to add a little bit of another extra layer of this is going to be a challenge.
I don't think the zombies are scary in Daisy. I think the players are scary.
They are.
Just to run in a straight line for like 15 minutes, and then you're in a forest, and all of a sudden you hear the pitter patter of someone else's footsteps. That gets my heart racing.
Yeah.
Just to like, they're somewhere. They're in the trees. They're somewhere.
Exactly. Yeah, and then so you run into a town, all of a sudden you see a guy, and you're a newbie to the game, and then he comes in. You see him, and he's a little bit more geared than you are, but then you're like immediately you're hiding behind a wall or something, like try not to get your attention.
DayZ is a lot about us like it's more like kind of stealth combat.
Yeah.
Like it's really whoever gets the first drop.
You're right.
Like I mean, I was in a situation where I had a cleaver, and this dude had a automatic gun just pouring away bullets at me because I got that first swing on him.
Mm-hmm.
I think I 3-tapped him. But he was like swinging away. I was this close. I died in the end. I won the fight, but died in the end.
If you get close enough to him, they can't shoot you because the gun won't let.
It'll raise up. I do like that feature a lot because
it balances a little bit.
It does. It's nice because it's understandable. Like you do here, then you have hip fire, but the gun will like if you're not supported, it'll rock everywhere. So my first question: do you play with a microphone?
Yeah, I do.
I kind of said this in for a different game, but I feel like. If you in DayZ, I definitely feel like if you have a microphone, you can kind of consider it a friend. Like if you don't have a microphone,
no one can trust you.
Yeah. I was always a target before I turned on my mic. I had to learn the hard way of I need a mic, and I turned on the mic, and it's like whoa, I'm chill. And I was like, oh, are you? And they put 2 rounds in my face, but I learned that quick that hey, they talk to me. So
yeah, I don't think they're as toxic as other communities. Like they can be, especially if you're outnumbered or. If you don't come off trustworthy enough, or if they can be just toxic, but I think a lot of times like you can run into them and if you kind of show mutually that you're willing to try to work together, then usually you'll figure it out.
Yeah, that's what I like about community servers. Let me ask you, where did you start server-wise? Did you start communities, or did you start official servers where like you have like 3 servers?
Yeah.
I don't like official servers because it's a lot harder in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can only have one player, which is a problem in my opinion because you can just raid bases and stuff and then just exit the game and that loot's gone forever. And there's around what I write down. There are only around 40 official servers. And for a community, okay, that's just a bunch of jibber jabbish that I can't even read. I must have been tired writing that script or something because I don't even understand why I was writing that.
I'm always tired.
Yeah, especially right before spring break.
Oh yeah.
But I've been watching people play online, and before it was even on Xbox, I was watching people play on PC. I was watching them play Arma and stuff like that, which is where it originates. And so then I had a friend. Well, I saw a lot of reviews of people playing on Xbox when it first came out, and they said it was junk. It was clunky, and they just didn't like it because it was difficult to play. But then they've done definitely some improvements over the clunkiness of it. And I had a friend that I've been playing other games with, and I saw he had it, and so I asked him. I just messaged him and I said, how was the game? And he kind of said that it was really bad at first, but it's gotten a lot better over time. And he actually had his own personal server, but he said before you come onto my server, go into an official server and basically just go in there and die a couple times and see what it's like.
Learn the rules. You will. That's what's up. You really got to learn the ropes of DayZ before you get into it.
Yeah.
I mean, right when I spawned on coast like everyone
Right.
does. And I didn't really go inland a lot at all. I just stayed on the outshores. You know, I didn't
Mhm.
find much loot. It was more of a fashion game at that point to me. I just kept finding clothes, switching them on and off. I mean, I got really lucky
Yeah.
and I found a can of beans, survived, and
Yeah.
I died trying to, go from
Yeah.
getting inland.
It's funny because like on the coast is where all the the noobs are, right? And so
Yeah.
and it's a little bit easier to survive, but it's harder to survive because you can't find as much loot. The better loot's is inside in the interior. And I think what I love about the game so much, and it's just how detailed all that stuff is. You know, like
It is
Yeah.
insanely detailed.
Yeah.
And that's one problem for me. Like they put a lot of details into unnecessary things. Like if you get shot,
Yeah.
you lose a lot of blood and you can be near dying. You know, you want to get a blood test kit. You can scrape some dry blood off the floor. You have to get a test kit. But to find that test kit's nearly impossible. Or you can do the easier route and just eat some food, regen your blood over time. Is there any benefit to that? I don't remember.
So to having the transfusions, you're saying?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just quicker if you have a transfusion, but transfusions are obviously easy if you already have a base and you're ready to, like you already have like established, home base, and you can have more of that stuff on hand.
Yeah.
So then you can store it and then just use it sometime. But
I never once found all the materials to make a transfusion.
yeah,
And that bothered me because like I really wanted to, like I had a hard base in DayZ, and I was it's established, and I just really had food stacked up, and well, that was a bad idea because it kind of went rotten pretty quick.
yeah,
But I was established. I had all my stuff. I needed the materials, and all of a sudden, it just got taken away from me. That was my first gunfight I was ever in. I lost to a guy with on the side of I lost to a guy on the barrel of a sniper rifle.
Hmm.
First bullet zoomed past my head. I remember I have a
You could hear
surround
it.
sound headset. Heard it, went, and I was like, okay. So I ran to the base, and before I got there were like 3 guys just mowing down my doors.
yeah,
So I just like kind of admitted that this was the end. Hop on the mic. I was begging, please don't do this, as I was shooting back with my pistol.
yeah.
That was the first pistol I ever found with a mismatched magazine. I had to look so hard to find a pistol, and the ammo. And like I remember, I only had 2 mags. I went through those extremely quick, which was a bad idea. And I just sat there reloading each and single one, and that's when I got mowed down by those guys. Yeah, so I was pretty heartbroken about that. That was my first death of a grinded out character. What about you in this game?
First death of grinded out character.
Yeah, the bottom question.
One that I've spent a lot of time in. You're saying. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I've ever had one that I've been like really grinded out that I've actually lost. That I've died in. For the most part, I'm actually on a community server. This is the one I spent the most time in, and so I'm on I'm on a community server, and I have not died on this community server. It's not like they've like really they have upped the amount of food you can find. So like every I would say 60% of zombies have food on them. But I have I'm kind of dominating when it comes to my kill death ratio, because since I've got a Discord, they document your kill death ratio and stuff like that. I've got like a 600 KD.
I wish.
On that. I don't know how I'm surviving, and I should probably knock on wood, because probably next time I get on, I'll probably be killed right away. But I actually lead a faction on that. And I think that's what's kind of been like the redeeming thing, is that I lead
Playing
a
with
faction.
friends is a lot more redeeming.
Yeah.
I've never played with friends. I never got any Discord friends or random strangers I met online. I never did that. Well, I tried to, but most people were already in factions. They didn't want them. I do remember one time where I died. I think this was in Rust. No, this was definitely in DayZ. Was it? Yeah. So I got robbed in DayZ. I was robbed at gunpoint, and I gave them all my stuff, emptied out my pockets, and traded for my life.
Mm-hmm.
That was the most degrading dehumanization thing I've ever gone through.
That's the point, man. That's what they're trying to do.
It's like, give me all your stuff. I was like I couldn't wrap my head around it. I just started unloading my pockets. That's where I lost I gave away my mismatched magazine for the pistol I had.
Yeah.
And then I got this faction, and I said, hey, I just got robbed. Do you want to get some free loot? Because this guy had a base and everything. I led him to there. Turns out there's like 6 or 7 people in the faction.
Yeah.
He opened the doors and it's just 6 people blowing away that guy just to watch him frantically like run away and then just get mowed down and then just storm the building.
Yeah, this faction that I've got, it's got to be over a dozen people.
Really?
Yeah, and it gets bigger and bigger all the time because there's guys on there that play. I don't play that much actually, even though I lead the faction. I play maybe Fridays every once in a while. Sometimes it'll be like 2 weeks before I get on there again, and then I come on and like, oh yeah, I haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, no. But these guys are always recruiting more people, and they're getting like their actual in life friends, and they're getting them to come over and play. But I actually was thinking about the time that I did lose. So I have died. I was thinking about these, but the first time I lost like a character that had a lot of gear and stuff like that, it was actually a car crash, which is because you can die in car crashes too.
Yeah. Wait. Did you find the car fully assembled? What's the story with
that? No, you had to build a car.
Oh yeah, I knew that. I know that.
But this actual the one I'm in now, the cars come fully assembled. Yeah, the cars and the guns do. The big part of like this one I'm in right now is it's factions. And you have to be in a faction. You have to compete in your faction.
Something I didn't realize is you're in the community. They can up the food food rates and everything. Yeah. That's nice.
So that definitely helps out for those who struggle with like their base game.
Building a base, it's like in base game with no. That is freaking brutal. I remember that was my it took me a week to build one base, just one little 1 by 1 base with a floor and walls and a roof.
Yeah,
it took me like a week straight. That and then I think I lost to hunger. I think.
Yeah. Then this server doesn't have anything like upped on the base, so the base building's the same.
Oh.
It's basically just guns. It's just guns, cars, and like a little bit more food. Everything else is the same. So you like to find clothing and stuff like that. It's the same.
Are there grenades in DayZ?
Yep. There's grenades. There's actually landmines as well.
Can you be blown up if you're carrying a gas can?
Yeah, you can. So they can actually shoot the gas stations too and blow you up. I don't know about the gas cans. I'm not sure about that. Well, but you can. I think you can actually blow if you have a grenade in your jacket. I think if they shoot the jacket, it can actually blow up and kill you. Yeah.
Well, I remember I was carrying I think it was a door to my almost built car. I was missing a few parts of the engine. I was carrying the door there, and that, by the way, that's a task just to carry the door.
It takes you forever.
Yeah. And I was walking, set the door down, got the gas can, and all of a sudden I just explode, and I had no clue why. But I thought I heard someone like, I knew a player was close, which is why I got out the gas can because I was gonna drop so I could, do my stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how I died. I just, But that was like kind of dumb. I just like went in and was like, I'm gonna build a car today, and I spent the majority of that time building the car, and then I just died like that.
My faction will actually hoard cars. We had last I was on there, and they actually did a car reset, and the guy that manages it can do whatever he wants. But I think we had like we had 8 cars, and then we had 5 trucks.
Pretty good.
Yeah, it was really good. And again, we've got a pretty big faction, but we were definitely hoarding at that point. Which I was like, we should probably not be because it's kind of toxic for us to be hoarding all these things. But
wait, so do you play with? So in your faction, your friend hosts the server.
Not this one. This is a different.
Okay.
This is a different server.
Was it like a private server, or how did that work?
Yeah, you pay for a private server, and then you can set it to wherever you want. So my friend actually, he had a private server, the one that you're thinking of, when I first started out, and he actually forgot to pay for it like last 2 weeks ago or something like that. So he lost it, which is fine because we play on this one more than anything else now. So they pay for that, and they can kind of set to whatever they want to the parameters of it, and then they can control it. And a lot of people think it's cross-platform, but it's actually not.
No, it's not.
Yeah. So a lot of people think that it is because people can play on mouse and keyboard on Xbox, and you have a lot of control over it in the settings. So and you can mod it. Which is
that's what I like. I came from console, so I saw something on TikTok, and it was like, you built X amount of money set up, and you still play on controller. So that's the day I threw away the controller. I didn't throw it away. I threw it in the drawer and just dedicated myself to learning keyboard and mouse. And actually, I like it a lot better. Yeah. Keyboard and mouse.
It's faster and it's more accurate, a little bit more accurate.
Playing like shooter games, I always had bad aim because I was scared to push the stick. Just like if I pushed it too much, the dead zone always got me. But now with a mouse, it's just like, I don't know what it is. It's just like Like I can tune it.
Well, you can do that. I feel like you can do. I do that with like COD and stuff like that. You get used to like your gun
Yeah.
after playing a little bit, and then you get used to how much you have to pull it down.
Mm-hmm. I know
On
in
both the
Rainbow
sides.
Six Siege on my console, I have the sensitivity down really low,
Yeah,
but the dead zone up super low too. So like just the little amount is just it's weird because like when you're shooting, it's almost like auto aim of just it kind of stays there. There's less gun sway, but the dead zone being so low are it's really accurate, but like it feels broken. I don't know how to explain it. It's just broken simply. It's weird to explain it like that.
yeah. I've never played Rainbow Six, but if I've always had people say all the time like, "Oh, you should play it. And
You
stuff
will
like
you'll break something.
that.
I've broken
Yeah.
2 controllers playing it.
That's the thing that like when I was a kid, I would play games and I get mad. And I've always been kind of a very mild demeanored person, and that's kind of I was like, why am I getting mad at a game? I shouldn't get a game that I'll be mad at. Which
That's
DayZ,
the-
a lot of people get mad at
That's
DayZ.
the fun about DayZ. Yeah.
But once you get into a community server, I think that's where it's at. If you get mad at the base is the base level game, or the official servers.
It's understandable when you die.
Yeah, you die, and I think in those games, honestly, those official, I feel like most of the time you're not even trying to build a base. You're not even trying to like create a faction. I feel like for the most part, you're trying to survive.
And it's not even against people. It's the
Yeah.
game is killing you more than people are.
You get sick, and you're dead. Yeah. And what's cool about that, like if you're full on all your food and water and your blood and everything like that, to get sick is actually impossible. You can't get sick. You can touch whatever you want, eat whatever you want. You can drink whatever water. You can eat whatever food you want. You can't get sick.
It's really nice like
Yeah.
that. I'm
You get
glad
away.
I'm glad there's some sort of relief in that game of like just the weight lifted off
Yeah.
your shoulders, where it's just not constantly looking over your shoulder of your own self. I keep hitting that trash can.
Yeah, I think I kicked it once too, or kicked something.
Yeah, it was the trash can. Why? You've been kind of quiet. How's it going over there, buddy?
I don't know.
DayZ.
Yeah, I never played this game.
It's fine.
It sounds cool.
It's a lot like it's kind of like Rust, but just more on steroids. It's like one of the most hardcore survival
Yeah.
games I've ever played.
It's
Yeah,
extremely
I heard it
hardcore.
was pretty extreme.
It's rough. It's definitely rough. So did I ask all the questions on my paper? Oh yeah. Well, so first time ever playing the game and
Mhm.
you spawned it on Coast. What were your first thoughts?
I mean, you get nervous, you get scared, you see things. At first you see the zombies, and you're like, oh man, there's zombies there. And like when I first had zombies, I had nothing. You usually spawn with like some rags and like a pear or something. And I just ran from them, and I had like this horde of zombies running behind me, like a train or a kite. And but then when you first see your first other player, then that scares you as well, quite a bit. But I was like, it's a big place. It's complete, and there's no in-game map too. That's pretty quite the struggle compared to like other games. Is like at least in other games you have an in-game map. Or at least, sorry, I don't mean in-game map, because you can find
I was gonna say.
a hiker's map, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But those are you don't have that right away.
Yeah.
So you can look up an app, and once you find the app, that makes it a lot different. You can look up the map on your app.
Yeah. I don't like that though. It's I just
It
feel
does
like
take away the game a little bit.
Yeah.
Once you learn, I think once you learn the cities and the locations, and then you
Yeah.
get down
I
a little
couldn't
bit.
tell you a single place about any location.
Really, I've got like I played a lot in Electro.
Electro?
Yeah, Chernogorsk.
Never heard of the game.
That's the bottom right.
Oh.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Obviously,
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know the.
Yeah. It's actually one of the. It's a big city, and it's a city that usually gets a lot of spawns. Electro. You've probably been there. If I had to guess, it's got a lot of shipping containers outside of it and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah,
think so. I'm pretty sure.
yeah.
That's the one thing that is kind of hard for me is traveling.
Mm-hmm.
Like it takes forever to travel and to
Yeah.
build a car.
To walk is how much is it to walk? I think somebody's done it before. It's like it's several hours to walk.
It's not fun. I mean,
Yeah.
most of the game you will spend walking.
Mhm.
If you get lucky enough where you get a car and you get to drive everywhere, and you don't attract a horde of zombies when you just pull up in your car into the city,
Yeah.
you're doing something right. I don't know. I want to know what's going on.
Yeah.
My first mistake was I pulled up in a car, and this is when I was playing in a community server, but it was an open community server on a Discord. Pulled out in the car, popped my gun off just for fun.
Yeah. Dumb idea. We'll hunt people if we hear somebody in our town. We're in Dubovo, but if we hear somebody in like Chernogorsk or Dubovo, we'll hunt them down because they're not supposed to be there. That's our claimed territory. So we'll hunt them down.
I didn't.
Yeah.
Between the zombies and the people, I knew I was dead.
Yeah.
I just didn't know what to do. Like I didn't know if I should fight off the zombies first or waste them on the zombies.
Yeah.
Or the people, because the zombies are always going to come. You know, you can kill one. You know, blah blah blah. You know, you kill 3 and more come. Are suppressors in the game? I'm pretty sure they are.
Not for every gun though. Not for like even your it's mostly for like small your guns. AK, your Kalashnikovs, your SG40 or sorry, your SMGs, your pistols, and your like low level rifles. But like high level rifles, no. You can what you can do is you can get a water bottle suppressor, and so you basically get a water bottle and you can wrap it in duct tape. But that only lasts a couple shots and then it's destroyed. Or I think you can keep repairing it with duct tape, but I mostly don't even use that at all because it's just so much of a pain.
Well, I think noobs should have suppressors. I know that sounds like contradiction. Like how is a noob gonna get a suppressor?
Yeah.
Because first you gotta find the gun, the ammo, the clip, the suppressor. But
sometimes you just find the suppressor and have no gun.
I know. I did that. Where I found a clip and no gun.
Yeah.
And I just carried around that clip like it was a little piece of gold.
Yeah.
Yeah. That then I gave it to the dude who robbed me. And Yep.
It's funny. Like my friend when I was playing with him, there's the gold deagle, the gold desert eagle, and no one can find it. And he's talking about, there's like 1 or 2 gold eagles on this entire map. And like literally when I was like first playing, I found it. And it was like just in like a random shack somewhere. I was like, hey, gold eagle. He's like, seriously? He's like, he's been playing way longer than I have. Like, seriously, you already found that? Like, yeah, man. I took a screenshot, sent it to him. Wow. I didn't even pick it up. I just left it because I was like, you can pick it up. But I don't think he actually even did. I just left it there for him. I picked it up and dropped it because it will reset. And it'll last longer than, as opposed to like every 10 minutes it resets. So if I pick it up and drop it, then it lasts longer than that. So
yeah, that's something I didn't like about the game. Like pockets are full, left, came back. Oh, it's
gone. Yeah, you go 100 meters away and it resets. Yeah.
Yeah, and that scared me too because I didn't know if a player took it or if it just despawned. Because I never had like an internal timer in my head.
Yeah.
The first time I ever ran into a player, that was the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
Or I think it was like the second or third maybe. I was running, I was running for a while and ran into that forest and then I heard the pitter patter of the feet. I was like looking around and I stopped, laid down, and like I couldn't find him anywhere. I think they ran past me. We just completely missed each other. But like for the next 10 minutes, I was so paranoid of like, what if I'm like, because I was obviously running the way that they were coming from.
Yeah.
So I was like, what if I'm running into a trap? What are they running from? And they were beating feet,
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of dangerous to beat feet in that game because, your hunger goes away kind of quick.
Yeah. My first interaction with the human was one that I could actually talk to because you'll find some that on mics like you were. And my first interaction with a person I could actually talk to was this guy who came up to me and said, hey man, can you kill me? Because he wanted to have a reset. And all I had was a knife. And actually I was starving. Like I was literally starving. I could not find food. So I was actually picking up human meat because you can eat human meat.
Yep.
And I had it in my hand when he came up to me and I turned around and I had human meat. And I was like trying to put it away real quick. And he saw me. He's like, hey man, can you kill me? He's like, dude, is that human meat? That's messed up. Can you kill me? I was like, you're telling me this is messed up and you're asking me to kill you? It's like, okay. But that's like, yeah, I killed him. He's like, hey, thanks, man. I really appreciate it. I was like, yeah, no problem, man. I'm just killing you. But yeah, I've had, I had run-ins with people that were like, just, they were trying to help each other out a little bit. They couldn't talk to us and stuff like that. But
yeah, I think that's what my favorite thing is kind of like.
Yeah.
When I had my established base, I had cans of food.
Mm-hmm.
I think I gave like a wanderer like a can of and I was pretty close to coast. I was like in the middle of either or, big city, inland, kind of close to the coast. So I was like right in that hot spot of everyone's kind of going to be there. I was like on the outskirts of a town. So I always ran into people and they're like, hey man, you got any food? I remember a lot of times I just got tired of people coming up. So I just shot them in the face and just like instantly.
Yeah.
Like I remember I have an amazing story. Like this dude's like, hey, this is my first ever time playing. Do you have any like food for me? Like, what do I do? Like,
yeah.
He's like, do you have any food? I'm like, yeah, come inside. And he turns the corner. I just blast him away.
Yeah.
That's messed up.
They need death mic. They need hot mics when you die. Just to hear that scream like a
Yeah,
ghost.
frustration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said one word. All I heard was, that's all I heard. Gunshot.
Yeah, you have to actually push down like the D-pad. I think it's down on the D-pad to talk. Usually I'm talking in not in game chat, but in my
Discord.
actually not the Discord, the Xbox Live chat.
Oh.
So I very rarely talk to people in game anymore. Just because I'm a part of a faction, so I play in the faction all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's actually kind of a pain because you have to back out of that to then talk to them. They can hear you, but you can't hear them, so you have to back out to talk to them. I mean, you even have to have, if you have a biker's helmet on, it even muffles your voice.
Yeah, that's what
I didn't know
hate.
that. For several times I was like talking to people and they're like talking to me and I was talking to them back and they're like, okay, man, well, whatever. And I was like, no, I'm answering your question. And they're like, but then there was one guy who's like, yeah, I can't hear what you're saying. It's just muffled. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, if you get the helmet on, I can't hear what you're saying. I was like, oh, I didn't know that. So I'd like take it off with my hand. I was talking to him and stuff. Yeah, and didn't know that. It's very detailed.
Yeah, it's a weird.
That's what I like about the game. I love it. I have a love-hate relationship with that game.
Gotcha.
I don't have it anymore because I've like lost my mind on it.
Yeah,
I could easily just pour hours and hours to the game, and then lose it all. I just hate that.
And the stealth aspect of it, I think that's what I like a lot about it. Is you want to raid like an air base, you want to raid somebody's actual base,
like a military base. You can't run in there guns blazing. You got to walk stealthily. I mean, you can't drive in there. I mean, between the zombies and the possible people there, you really got to like. I've only found it's not called a scar, but I think I found a scar or what it would be a scar, an AR. Found it, ammo. Took it home. Didn't make it home.
Yeah.
Dude, I had like a few people chasing me.
Yeah, but it's fun to like get with a group of guys and you're talking over your mics and stuff like that, and you're stealthily approaching a place and you're talking you can actually be pretty tactical about it and you say go around the side and approach it from a very tactical viewpoint. But
so let's wrap up the podcast really quickly. Not quickly. So I'm gonna list the games that we just talked about, and I want us to rate them on a scale of 1 to 10. So let's start at the top of the list. So DayZ, the one we just talked about, what's our rating here? I'll give it a solid 6.5 out of 10.
I honestly I'm not gonna lie, I was gonna say 7. So we're actually not far off on our rating. I don't know if I won you over a little bit with our discussion on it, but
a little bit. I might buy it permanently. Why? What do you think?
I'm not gonna give a rating because I haven't played it yet.
All right. So let's give a good rating on Skyrim. I haven't played it, so I won't rate it.
10 out of 10.
Yeah, I was gonna say 9, but I wouldn't. I don't blame him for 10. Out of all these games, this is probably the most well done. I mean, it's a professional game, right? The rest of these are not.
Why did I say definitely? Like I know the game. Okay, so Rust. I'll give it a solid 5 out of 10.
I was gonna agree with 5 actually.
Yeah, I'll give it a
5. And Ark, I'll give it a 5 too. I'll give it a 5, right? Because Rust and Ark are kind of the same game. I'll give it a 5 out of 10.
6 out of 10.
I put 5 as well. And I actually have written down here as proof. So
nice. All right. And the last one, 7 Days to Die. I haven't played it, so I'm not sure.
PlayStation version 2 out of 10. PC version probably like a 6.5.
I give it a 6 because of I think it's most creative about the Seventh Day Horde. Like I don't think there's a lot of other games, if any games, that are like that. So I think for creativity points, I give it a 6.
Right.
All right. That pretty much wraps up the podcast, folks. Next week, where can I find that paper? There's a paper somewhere that's going to talk about what we talk about next week. Where is it? That's a good question. All right, why don't you tell us what we're talking about?
All right, so next week's agenda is we're going to talk about Cyberpunk.
Oh, here it is. All right, so sorry to cut you off. Next week's news, we're going to talk about some old news, but some much needed to talk about news. Cyberpunk source code was stolen and auctioned off to the highest bidder because people were tired of waiting for updates.
Really?
So, yep, just kind of sucks. A little screw you. Sony's stance on Cyberpunk's return to the Sony PlayStation Store. And I want to talk. I really wanted to talk about next week all the updates that make Cyberpunk function as a game, and popular streamers' thoughts on Cyberpunk and the company's speech that they gave out to all the people, to try to apologize and smooth things over. whether if it worked or not and won your heart over. That'll be debated next week on JWCP. You just listened to JWCP podcast number 10. Today is April 1st. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Wyatt.
And that special guest star, Mr. Peterson.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
No problem.
No problem.
All right. Goodbye, Internet.
See ya.
Wow.
You guys smacked.